Okay, so welcome to this week's call. My name is Jackie Boyle, and I am very excited about this week's call because we are talking about the benefits of exercise. And I will apologise if we can get Dr. Ahrens on. He will. He must be having some technical issues in the Bahamas with the internet. But I've got a really special guest on board today, which actually happens to be my husband, and David Boyle. And he has an extensive background into the health and wellness industry. He not only leads by example, he sleeps, eats, and basically lives by exercise. He's been a professional athlete. We've owned a fitness centre. As he has aged from 21 going forward, a little bit of a joke, we're all 21 at one stage or another, that he has adjusted his exercise to suit his body's needs. So there has never been really, he hasn't found an excuse. He's found a solution to adjust what he is doing. So I want to welcome you to the call to start with, David. So how are you? I know you're up in Sydney.
Yeah, doing very well, Jack. I travel up every day. I do about an hour and a half travel to work every day. So I've got plenty of time to think in the car and do the other activities in the car as well.
Yeah.
All legal.
All legal. Oh, we've got Dr. Ahrens venturing on board. So do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, David? Like in, like a couple of minutes, just give people your background so that they know who you are, what you are about, so that as we interact with Dr. Ahrens, because he's coming on board now, who are you?
Sure.
Like, what is your background with exercise?
Okay, I guess the big thing there is I always played rugby league. It's a game similar to gridiron, except we don't stop and we don't wear helmets and bodyguards. And then I got offered a chance to trial out for an NRL team, and it happened to be the South Sydney Rabbitohs. My claim to fame, I was fit and I could take a hiding, and I loved a team first attitude. So I played there for 10 years and probably made about 48 collisions a game in 80 minutes. So I guess where I'm leading to now is it wasn't I want to keep fit. If I don't keep moving, I'm just going to seize up. And we know that collision sports now create concussions, and I've had about 43 operations, 13 knee operations, 2 knee replacements, shoulder reconstruction, and the nose has been done about 17 times. He said he was good, he wasn't God. So it's as good as it's going to get at the moment. So I just embarked on a career of high performance. And then I've got a corporate health company, so that we've got 2 spectrums. We've got elite athletes and we have workers that are standing around and mill operators and things like that. So we've got a pretty broad spectrum of where we want to be at. Academically, I've done an MBA in business, and I'm just about to hopefully finish a thesis on decision making in elite rugby league. So that's in the human performance side of things. And that's about me. I've got to 62. I've married a young woman in Jackie, and she's 6 years younger than me. And you're only as old as a woman you feel. So they tell me.
So he loves me. Okay, so David, what I want to share with this also, like we did have a fitness industry. So within that, the fitness centre, I should say, which was a rehab centre as well. So just to give you guys a bit of a background, that we were dealing with general public, people that were deconditioned, people that were needing to rehabilitate back to what was normal for them. So we had to come up with certain things like, things that look like this, that you will see when you can use at home for exercise, and I start looking at all of these little things that are at home that we can look at, that they look a little bit scary for some, even little weights like this all mean something, through to, it actually looks like a torture chamber, but it's not, into resistance bands and things like this that we can all use at home. Chairs, as I said, like kitchen chairs, steps, and so forth. So, but I want to bring on Dr. Ahrens, if you're able to bring yourself onto the screen, Dr. Ahrens, because I can see you on there. So welcome to the call.
Here I am.
Yeah. How's the sunny Bahamas today?
Yeah, they're great, and moving is critical. Just like David said, I get out every morning and get on the beach. And even if I'm not able to do a workout routine, it's just extremely important to move. And so that's really what I do mostly every day. I'm fortunate to live on the ocean and can jog on the beach, which is just, is a little bit of a workout at time. But the important is move. We're not telling everybody here they've got to go into some training program that professional sports guys do, but just like David said, move. That's critical. You don't have to go to that upper echelon level like you two guys do, but I hope this evening what we talk about is just move a little bit, if anything.
So, Dr. Ahrens, what do you do in regards to mobility? Like, as you have, traveled your journey through life, and, you would have been doing things differently when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're still in your 60s, aren't you, really? So when we start looking at that what have you altered, but what has been mainstream for you that's really important, and why?
Well, number one, regardless of my routine, is I move. I'm in the philosophy of like the caveman style diet and exercise. And that means, you don't have to go out and beat yourself to death. Just move a lot. Every now and then do a little bit of fast running, a little bit of short burst here and there. And every now and then lift something heavy. That's really it. Move is number one though. And that does so much for you. It helps lubricate your joints. It also sends other chemicals to parts of your body that are telling you, you're not out there running away from a lion or a tiger, but, this is pleasant. And when you move like that, I mean, people in our age, whoever that is, 20 to 100, but most of us, in this group here are 30, 40, 50 to 70. And we find out that we didn't even think about moving when we were young because we were always dashing off here and there all the time. But as we get into, we can't help it, a type of a sedentary lifestyle, you find out, wow, it's sat here an hour and you start to move and then you get all these creaks and groans and it gets harder and harder to get going. But if you stay moving, it will not only give fluidity to those joints, but it will help repair them. So what I do personally is every day I'm sure to move. I go on a walk. Just walking is important. And actually I set an alarm throughout the day. Every hour I get up and I just walk for a minute or two. I pace back and forth in my living room and kitchen. It's really important. And that's really everything, guys, I tell you comes from not only my personal experience, but from scientific studies. Get up every hour. If you're got an office job, you're sitting down all the time, man, don't sit there until you take a break in 2 hours. Get up as often as you can, move. And like I said, I have to set an alarm or else I'll go 4 hours without moving. Man, I suffer for it. I get up and move. I do in a perfect situation. I go to a gym. I particularly like elliptical trainer. I hit that for 30 minutes, pretty intense. I drive my heart up to around 140. I do a little bit of that every day. I use the elliptical as a warm-up, but then I use that for my aerobic on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I do resistance on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Give myself a break on Sunday. Well, doesn't that sound great? I don't do that most of the time. I mean, I don't have a gym here in the Bahamas. I hate just lifting weights, push-ups, calisthenics. They don't do it for me. So I have to fight that. But at least I move all the time. I'm moving, moving, moving. I do every day, take a jog, trek 2 miles. That's around 7 kilometers on the beach. And then I do try to do some type of resistance at least every other day. That's my routine.
Okay, Dr. Ahrens. So, what I'm gathering from that, just for everybody, who listens to this and who is on this call, that movement, mobility, flexibility, and you're adjusting things as you are going on in life as to what you're capable of doing, and also, of course, what you choose to do that you enjoy doing. So that's really important. Exercise should be something that you actually enjoy doing, but sometimes we do need to do it for a purpose, David. So I want to bring you into the call here because I know that you work at an elite level, but I want to talk about you personally because I know what your regime is and I know what you do in light of what you have shared with everybody, from injury to operations that you've had. One thing that I've seen with you is that you've adjusted what you've needed to do because your body has told you that you can't do what you did when you were 20. You cannot do what you were when you were 30. But you're not always in a gym environment. So I see what you do when you're at home. So you do use these items. And do you want to elaborate on that for the people that are at home that may not get to a gym? What's the importance of walking, swimming, bike riding, stretching, what you'd like to share in this call so that people know that there is something there for everybody and the benefits thereof, please?
Certainly. Okay, so my body's been battered around a lot. And as I grew older and older, we don't think we have to stretch. We don't think we have to warm up, or we don't think we have to recover. Yeah, and we can eat what we like. So I'm very passionate about surfing, and all I do is want to surf. But when I was playing football, I was 220 pound. And now I'm down to about 180 pound. So I wanted to lose weight so I could surf. But I also wanted to increase my flexibility and mobility. So I had to start moving differently, and that wasn't doing heavy weights. I might squat 140 kilos and deadlift 160 kilos, but now I don't want to do that anymore. So I use bands now instead of weights, and I do a lot of flexibility. I do all the recovery sessions with the guys at work here, and I'm moving. So what also happens is we lose our flexibility, and that's where the bands might help you. I've got a very thick one here, but you can get very thin bands, and then you just start moving them around and just move them around just gently, just so you start getting that movement again and you're burning up calories. And it's like a snowball effect. It's hard to get started, but once you get started, you get hungry for knowledge. So the knowledge that I look at now, and if you Google up, say, yoga for beginners, then they'll have easy workouts for you. Some of us can't walk. We have knee problems and hip problems and things like that. So there's other activities you can do in the water that you can keep moving. The other thing you've got to be careful of is you're going to get sore after you do your first workout. And we've got three types of contractions. There's a concentric contraction and there's an eccentric contraction. And what happens is that eccentric contraction, because you actually get some damage to your muscles when you start exercising them again. And when they get sore, that causes what they call the delayed onset of muscle soreness. So you get sore from it. So if you go too hard, you're going to get really sore. So instead of just getting this little catabolic action, you're going to get a lot of bleeding. And if you go too much, you'll get super sore and it'll start bleeding, and it just discourages you. So I'm not trying that again. So you really want to start out gradually, and just work through it. So that's very important to think about that. And a lot of people go on holidays, and then we have a rest and do nothing. And then we come back and we start squatting again, and then we get that DOMS again. So that's called reversibility. If you don't use it, you lose it. So the big secret is trying to start out nice and easy and just build on it. The beauty of what we have now is Google. And we just Google up yoga for beginners, exercises for beginners, exercises for the shoulder. You can just type it into Google and they're going to come back with some answers for you. So it's a little bit of surfing the net, but also when you're on the net, you've got to look at your posture. So sometimes we're sitting like this and we're rounded shoulder. So it's just good to sit up and just stretch and keep moving. as Joe alluded to earlier. Don't stop moving. Some other strategies you should do, well, I don't say you should do, but if what I like to think about is don't take the elevator, take the stairs. If you're at an airport, if you're at shopping, don't try to get a car parked straight next to the door. Give yourself a chance to park underneath somewhere and just, you've got to walk. So just come up with these strategies that you're doing something all the time and just get into better routines. How can I make some exercise out of this? They're the sort of suggestions that I'd like to offer you. And I'd like to take some questions too, I guess, if there's a Q&A session.
So, David, I want to chime in on that. And sorry, Dr. Ahrens, you've probably got some questions as well. Just to give you everybody here that's on this call and that listens afterwards, anything is possible with exercise. And David will say yes to this, I know, because I'm going back 20 years ago with our fitness centre that we had. We had an association called Women with Weights. And it was targeted. They asked us for our centre. We had to go through a process that we were eligible, but they chose us because of our backgrounds. And it was targeted at women at 60 plus that were so deconditioned that we started off with a kitchen chair in the gym and we got them just to get mobile, got them to do little squats, got them just to sit down on a chair, hop up on a chair. They had like little 1 kilo weights. If this is 1 kilo weight, it was just little bicep curls, it was little shoulder presses and things like that. Those people ended up progressing into, and they're still going now, we've sold the fitness centre, but 20 years on, you know, they started in 60, they're in their 80s. We got them to where they were doing low impact step classes. They were doing spin classes. I had them doing pump classes, but instead of squats, we had a Pilates ball between their knees and they were squatting there to keep the alignment there. So it's changing and altering things, that anything is possible regardless of what challenges you have with your mobility and or your health conditions. It's just a matter of finding what works. Now for David, I know you've got a set routine every night that you do, and for what purpose is that? Like, I'm talking about all these things that you've seen here that go down on a yoga mat. For those that are on this call, why do you do that?
So I just want to relax. A couple of reasons now is I want to get some mobility and relax for the day. So it's an unwind for the day, but also get out some stiffness and soreness. Because I'm on my legs all day, I'm getting sore. So I just want to stretch and try to release that. I've also started doing yoga and we're doing 4-minute holds. So it started off doing 30-second holds and I'm up to 4 minutes as well. And just trying to move the hips, the knees, the joints, the shoulders. We get tense all the time and it just builds up the sternomastoids and we could get referral pains down our shoulders and things like that. So it's just good to really relax. And then what happens there is you get different stages of sleep. So you've got REM sleep, deep sleep, but it's also get better recovery for us so we can back up the next day. And Joe and Jackie talked about flavonoids and hydration and things like that. So there's a big picture there of you start your journey, but the biggest thing we've got to do is start that journey and get hungry for knowledge. And if we change our diet and that a bit and we start hydrating, we get some mobility, we can reverse that aging process.
So, Dr. Ahrens, do you want to chime in here? Because I'd like to even put that connection into the importance of diet and exercise, because it really does matter. But, you know, can you please come on board here and open up your thoughts here?
Well, certainly diet, exercise, you know, these are the two key pillars of a healthy lifestyle, diet and exercise. And you know, we don't preach about here, you just have to go eat raw carrots all the time. But I do want to point out that when you do take in too many carbs, your whole body wants to shut down and gets very lethargic. That's a double whammy for you, because not only you're loading up with carbs, you're also increasing the inflammation in your body, chronic inflammation from that, and you'll get stiff and you want to not move. So look, let's eliminate as much carbs, many carbs as we can from our diet. If you try to eliminate carbs, you'll still probably end up eating too much. So actively eliminate carbs. Number two, you need to take flavonoids This was not something on top of your diet. This is actually should be part of the normal diet. And several hundred years ago, that's what we ate. We ate everything. We ate the peels of apples, and that's actually the peels of fruits and vegetables. That's where most of the flavonoids are. Now we throw those away. You should be eating them. You don't get enough. So we really encourage you to supplement your diet with flavonoids and whatever multivitamins that you need. But Jackie, just like Dave just said, you don't park the cars so close to the grocery store. I think that's so funny. You know, I actually saw some gyms that offered valet parking. I just, you don't want to work out too much. We'll get to the gym. But you know, that something like that. How many times you see people driving round and around the parking lot looking for that parking spot closest to the door? Now, I understand that if it's raining all the time, but usually it's not. They just don't want to walk. Well, find your spot, and then maybe next time, park 2 spots further away. Walk that extra distance. Actually, if you're very proactive, you'll park all the way to the end away from the store. Just that part will force you to get out, and you'll say, oh, I hate it. Walk to the store and push your cart back to the car. That's a big step. That's really what we're trying to say here. Get going. We're not saying jump into a professional training program. There's little steps that you could do. And Jackie, earlier you were sharing with me some ideas of how you can do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it is about, as I said, like for myself, you know, I was a gym junkie. We owned a gym, you know, so I would teach 20 classes a week. I would then do my own training, do some personal training as well. I lived, breathed, and slept it. But I can say one thing, and David will say yes to this because I know he will agree. You know, I struggled all the time that I did all of these classes, but my body wasn't where I wanted it to be. And, you know, I wished we had what we have now, because my recovery, my refined carbohydrates are managed more efficiently. My sugars are controlled so much better. And that's because of the supplements that I choose to use. And so I wished I had have had them because my body, basically to look at it, is in better condition now than what it was in the gym, other than for muscle tone as such. And it's because I walk the dogs. And if you can hear the jingles in the back, it's my dog, it's my puppy with a bell, because she goes everywhere. But, you know, we walk, like I walk every day, and, you know, I maintain core stability. So whilst I'm on the computer here, I'm doing lower abdominal core exercises whilst I'm on the computer, because we want to create stability around the engine in our body. I have a Ferrari. I like to think I have a Ferrari. But underneath that hood is your core. And that's where the stability of all of your body is. And that's really important. So I've had to adjust what I have done by simple things of being able to, when you get up and out of a chair, there's a way of getting up and out of a chair. Lock in your core muscles, use them. I personally will pull up as close to the store as I can when I've got high heels on, gentlemen. Otherwise, I will park back if I've got joggers and thongs on. But yeah, I agree with that. But David, do you want to unmute yourself and weigh in on that? Because it is important, like you've seen that transition through myself, and I've had to adjust. My body has given me some major challenges, but I've adjusted them to be able to keep mobility, keep flexibility. But it's a mental state of mind too, guys. We haven't even touched on that, and we won't dive into it, but it's your positivity, it's your approach, it's your mindset. So did you want to weigh in on that as well?
Certainly on the mindset. Again, when I was younger, I was never going to walk anywhere because it takes you too long to get there. But when you get older, you've got to warm up, you've got to stretch, and you've got to cool down, and you look after your recovery. And the walking now is, it's very therapeutic. And we do live in a beautiful area on the beach and things like that. So yeah, it's just so important to keep moving. What I also do is I wear what they call a whoop band. So it measures me, it measures my heart rate variation, my blood oxygen levels, and just 24 hours a day. And then I've got to fill in a report every day. You know, if I've had vegetables, it's just a reminder what I've done to look after my diet, my health. I think I pay about $18 a month for it, but it just generates a whole thing for me. And it's an American product, but it's been really helpful. And it looks at your recovery levels. Yeah, it's just amazing. But you can get these in Apple Watches. You can get these in Aura rings. You don't have to do something like that, but it's just something that reminds you that you're doing something good, and you can see the benefits from it. And they're giving you all your internal responses on what you're doing externally to your body. So yeah, that's what I'm learning.
And you're like an encyclopedia. You keep on adjusting and changing to suit, it's like putting the tires on a car. You've got to keep on putting new tires on because you need to get that mobility going. You keep getting the car serviced, and it's the we're Dr. Ahrens, we're coming towards the end of the call. Do you want to add in and add some of your insight into this? Because it's really important.
Well, the most important emphasis I can put on this is you don't have to look at a big mountain that you've got to climb. Just start moving. I know it's hard to get going. I totally agree with what David said about having a tracker or something, but you don't even have to have an equipment. Get one of these free programs, Card Manager Tracker. Put in there what you've done and what you eat every day. You'll be shocked to find out where you are. Then that gives you a goal to change it a little bit, just eat 100 less calories tomorrow or something like that, or more protein, less carbs, because you'll be shocked to find out what you really are doing and what you're not doing. Get back, park way away from your building. I fly a lot. I sometimes live on airplanes, and I'm on an airplane maybe a short time, 1 or 2 hours, but there's some 30-hour trips in there too. You can't hardly move when you get off of those planes. There's little exercises like you just mentioned, sitting in a chair, that you can do while you're on an airplane that will help your blood flow and keep you in tone. Well, what do I see? All these people pouring off of that airplane and taking the escalator, and when there's a stairway right beside them, and I never take that escalator unless I'm forced into it. I always want to get on there and just move my legs and move my body. I know that I'm in better condition because of that. So I take those opportunities to do little things, and they add up in the long run.
So, on behalf of Dr. Ahrens, firstly, I want to thank David for joining us today, because it's not always easy for any of us to be able to find it in and around our schedule. And Dr. Ahrens, I also want to thank you as well, because you always bring a lot of knowledge to the table each week. But with both of you combined, the message is very strong for myself. And I hope that those that are on this call, and for those that watch this afterwards, or hopefully you will share it. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what your health challenges are, what your capabilities are. Get out and walk. Find something that is a place of serenity and peace for you, that it's mind, body, and soul, that you can be at one and find some balance, because your mental attitude towards finding that positive mindset has a huge ripple effect on the rest of your life. Get out then. If you don't like swimming, get on a bike. If you don't like those sorts of things, then use the kitchen chair to do squats behind. Get out. I know this is going to sound crazy. Get out a 1 kilo bag of rice. Get 2 of those, and you can do arm curls. You can do shoulder press. Just get the mobility going and range of mobility happening, because as we age, you'll be surprised that reaching up to things in the kitchen, how many people as we age, you can't get up to that top cupboard like you could when you're in your 50s, because your mobility won't allow you. So get the mobility happening, the flexibility, and use those types of things that I've just breezed through here and shown. If you want any help, David's put a link in the chat line there, so please copy it while you can whilst we're on this call. If you want any other information at all to help you with the general just basics of getting moving, please email us, because we're here to you, because it's about exercise. It's about your diet. It's 70% diet, but exercise just adds, it's like the icing on the cake. And then, of course, Dr. Ahrens has led us into looking at the importance of recovery in sleep. So, and that book band that David was talking about, it monitors his sleep recovery. So as to how much quality sleep that he gets, because it puts you on the right foot to get you going for the day. So I want to thank you both so much. I want to thank everybody for your time out today. And hopefully you've gathered something from it, and please share it, ask us questions. So thank you so much, David. And thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens. And we look forward to seeing you all next week.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a great
you.
week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.